Hi everyone, so we are going to look at a few things today. Britney Spears, who is apparently having a bit of a back and forth with Kevin Federline, her first husband, was here first. He's the father of her two boys, which I don't know the timing. The timing seems interesting because I've always seen him as a, someone that's always wanted to be a house husband and a money grabber, and now he wants to talk. Prince Andrew, the King and the Pope that are due to pray on the in a couple of days, so the 22nd, 21st, 22nd or 23rd, I think I read. And I'll do separately in terms of there was a third thing. What was the third? I think there's something else as well, but I'll do separately the predictions. First, I want to check on the digital ID thing that's coming up for that they want to introduce in the United Jack. Have they played with some of the numbers? Remember, don't think, oh, enough people sign. No, everyone counts and we must do that. So firstly, let's just take some cards on that. So have they played with the numbers? Oh, I wanted to look at Gus Lamont. Yes, they have. We've got the Tower in reverse, okay. They have very discreetly, okay, and they're not showing you the exact figures at this moment in time. The figures that are showing, the exact figures are hidden. They're showing you some other figures, but the truth, the moon is hidden. So there has been, even if the numbers were high, there's been some manipulation in the counting of the numbers. This is the person they've had also counting the numbers. Okay, so that's that. Gus Lamont, I did a quick thing in the last predictions. If you've not seen it, please do. I think he's first on there. So I want to just get some, I do think there's an element where he did wander off, okay, but I still get very weird dynamics with the family. And I think, go back to the beginning of that predictions, the last one that I did, you'll find what I mentioned there. I can't quite remember and I didn't know much about it. So I do think there's an element there, but then what has happened with him is something else. But can we get some location on where we can find Gus Lamont? And I mentioned that they were going to go about this in a very different way to they did to the boy who I can't remember his name is. I want to say Michael right now, but I think I always remember the boy has a Superman pajama on or something. Beautiful little boy, maybe a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. He was with foster parents. Is it Michael? Because I can also see Michael Monkey, but it's not him. I want to say Michael for some reason. Okay, so can we have some clues to finding Gus Lamont, please, Spirit? I'm only going by the cards. Okay, nothing's come out, but I can see a laboratory. Okay, so it's going to need some science behind it. Okay, we need I feel like those, the thermal sticks where they feel like the temperature. I think that's needed. Okay, this reminds me, cinema and arena. I do remember saying there was something around football coming up. So I don't know if there was a football game on the time, at the time of it. So maybe if there was a football game or something happening in Australia at a certain time on that day, check the timing of that, and that's going to be around the same time that I think he went missing or something happened. We've got coffee house. We've got river and countryside as clues. I really feel like Spirit is talking now about a workspace, which to me also means that it could be home grounds. I feel like Spirit is really saying go back to the timing and see, like, was there a football? I don't know why I get that quite a bit. And this church card has really stood out to me. And what I'm getting with that is one of the parents, grandparents, seems to pretend or is quite religious. And it could be through delivery of what they say. Okay, so I just wanted to pull cards on that. I might do a separate reading where it's just focused on that. Now, in my last reading, I did mention about the royals, and I could see that Charles was kind of a bit silent on Andrew, and William was really holding his guns, but he felt like obviously he can't overshadow the king. He can just advise. I can tell you 100% that was not Andrew's decision. And I believe it was pushed by William, and I believe there's something massive coming. So where there was rumbles of stuff, I think there's more like going to be an investigation. And to be honest with you, I think there's something really, really big, right, coming up. Was she going to release a book? Like, they've taken this, that this has to happen now before that. Now, if you've not seen my previous read where I said there's going to be social media, there's going to be something they want to let out at a certain time that might not get out at a certain time, go back to that reading. You'll find stuff, because I'm not watching the news, that I believe will tie in and give us a story. So I just want to pull cards on what I mentioned there. Am I correct? Or was it Andrew and Charles? I don't believe it was. I believe it was William. And I don't know what his speech was on that. And he doesn't lose the title of prince. This is where people are getting it wrong, because he's a blood prince, but he will not be able to use the Duke, and Sarah Ferguson, obviously the Duchess, and I think he's the knight of something, so he can't use that. Major Arcana to confirm. Yeah. So I feel like he might have some secret money from this. You know, like, I feel like that's him, you know, come here, take a little bit of money, let's get this done. There's something hidden about it, an agreement, and there's a little bit of a payoff some kind of way. Like, just, can you disappear, like, forever? You know, it's hidden, and we get our confirmation. I'm going to take these two cards as well. I'm going to take this card, Ace of Cups, comes through. So it is from the family. That's the family dynamic I get. And there was a lot of discussions and arguments about this, but I got my confirmation. It was via William. It wasn't from him. And it wasn't necessarily King Charles's led. It's interesting. I said, you know, can you be dead and gone? When I think about this, if this was an external in-law, or, you know, think of Princess Diana, that this was happening, they would be gone. And I think in the old days, I don't know, would they off with the head in such a case? Possibly, because they could, but not right now. You can't. I just want to pull cards, see what Harry and Meghan think of this whole thing right now. Okay, so Harry, it seems like Harry's thinking of his mother, and how, you know, the loss of his mother happened. So this could go back to that he believes that obviously what happened to his mother was through what was done to his mother. And he believes that William's behind it. Has William, we got him in the other card. So but he believes that William's behind it, and it seems to have it seems to be similar messaging, like if his mum done this, she would have been at a loss, you know, and because his mum, there was that thing about, you know, her not, you know, probably taken out. He seemed to think of that. Meghan seems to be having a bit of a jolly time about the news, all right? She seems to be happy that there's this corruption and heartbreak around it. And it doesn't seem like she's going to be quite hidden about something. She seems like you're going to be able to get clues from her about something. And this could also relate to something she mentions, where she mentions a hard time or something heartbreaking that she's had ties in. Yeah, she's happy with the news and she's not being so covert about it. But she's also at the same time, I don't know if she's talking about mental health again, but she seems to be talking about, she's going to speak about something to do with her being a victim or hurt by the royal family. She's going to be quite open about it. Whether that's a secret, whether it's truth or not, I'd need to pull cards. Very interesting, two different dynamics there. So the other thing was Kevin Federline and Britney. So what did I see? I saw that Britney wrote a post that said, he's always lying. No one knew the anger I had to endure. My boys, for the past 4 or 5 years, I've always asked to see them. I've seen one like 4 times. Don't quote me because I read it really fast. I was like, what the hell is going on? Is this Sam Asghari she's talking about? And so I Googled, and it said that Kevin Federline's bringing out a book after I Googled a few times. So the timing of this is really interesting. I thought child support had stopped a couple of years ago, but I don't know, because if there was something still monetized that he was getting that's just suddenly stopped, is because of that. And then a book takes some time as well, so he's trying to get there. I do think when I was thinking of doing this reading a few days ago, I do think she's going to bring out something, and you know, basically, I think is going to be trying to attack her credibility. And that could be from like when she was singing, when she was dancing, like, did you know that she needed, she actually needed someone to, she couldn't sing on the mic live. She used to just always mime or something, trying to ruin her credibility of her career. And they might even bring video footage out and they might leak it on her to try and break her even more and crack her credibility. I think she's going to come out with something new, and it's going to do well. I don't know what that thing is. I don't think it's singing or dancing, because I don't think that's going to happen. But why are people doing this? You know, even if like she's been induced for this long time and controlled, wouldn't you lose your mind? She's not even hurting anyone. She's trying to stay grounded, solid in her soul, in her spirit, in her faith. She's at home dancing, okay, like a Wally. She's not hurting anyone. She's being kind. She's being realistic in her posts. Realistic in terms of having faith, delivering a real message. Like she's saying, you know, maybe this, but I'm a strong woman, etc. She's not like conniving against anyone. And I'm telling you now, whatever was in her book, which I didn't read, my brother read, and he said for me to read it, she did not say half the things that she could spill shit on people on. I know, I psychically know that. I just know that clear knowing. I know that. So let's get the energy between them, and let's see why he's doing this book. I want to pull cards on Jamie Lynn. We're going to do that first, apparently, Spirit. So I feel her sister's a bit like Her sister, I feel, is jealous. Like, her sister, I feel, has tried to dabble into different business things, yet she's not made it. Her sister feels like she's stagnant. She's tried many projects together. She's tried to present herself as the wise one, as the intuitive one, as also the go-getter, and like the fiery entrepreneur. She's also tried to come across as the motherly, as the kind, whatever project it could be that's around kindness. And she's also then tried to come across as the multitasker, the mother, the grounded, the something to do, you know, something where she can try and bring in the money. But she's tried to come across, look, she's tried to come across in projects in different ways, and she's still found herself not able to succeed, not able to move forward. I do feel like there's envy here. There's like 3 versions of her, basically. Okay, and she can't come to grasp with the loss of, you know, not succeeding. Now, I don't know what she does, so she could be successful, but I still don't think she's successful as Britney Spears. And I think they just cannot milk the cow anymore. It's horrible. Let's look with Kevin Federline. I feel like his book might have some truths, but then they're laced in a web of deception that, you know, she's been strategically studied right now, either through her Instagram, through her weaknesses, what she's going through. And it's kind of like, let me add some of that in. Like, for example, she used to come home and she used to strip into her underwear, and she used to be dancing in her underwear around the boys. So it's taking like presents and putting it into a web so she sounds crazy and unsuitable for her boys or as a mother, etc. That's what I think he's doing in this book and a lot of stuff. So let's just see the book's energy. Page of Swords. Eight of Cups, the walking away. Page of Wands. Five of Pentacles. He's bitter about the whole split. He's bitter about being left out in the cold, not having the money at the moment, okay? He also did love her. There was a lot of fights. And as much as him wanting the energy, what I get, I think he wanted to be a home husband, a homemaker. He also wanted to be recognized as the man of the house. And I think there was a lot of like, between them both, I think there was a lot of ups and downs, instability, and not seeing each other. So I do think that he saw her, when he first saw her, I think they felt like there's a connection, instant soulmate connection. I feel with him, he felt like she's going to be my wifey. She's the ultimate stuff. But also then there's this erotic, really physical chemistry going on. So for him, she seemed like the perfect thing. And I feel like she, confirmation, Major Hermit, that she knew how to play on that. She knew that she could just grab in whenever she wanted. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. A lot of women do that. So I think that was done. I think there might have been a bit of gaslighting in the relationship. And I think that's because it's up and down. What I do feel with it is that, for example, if they had an argument, he'd go out drinking loads and loads of alcohol, getting wild, and he'll be thinking that she's cheating and being deceptive on him. So he would be like this wild boy and come back. And then when they make up, it's like so connected. There's a lot of eroticness. There's love. But then the next minute, there's this high of drama and break and a web of deception, which each one doesn't know if they're telling each other the truth. There's a bit of gaslighting. I wonder if he felt like she was too flirty. Last card. Yeah, He felt, yeah, there's definitely something about her. There's a confirmation. And the other two is the Queen of Cups. He felt quite burdened by the love, although she was quite loving to him. There's something that was quite burdened about their love, and he did think that there was lies in this, and he felt like she did lie to him. I got a thing where he felt like she was quite flirty. So, you know, and then he'd be like this Casanova. So what is... I do think that she might have been deceptive or cheated, and this could be from anything from inappropriate flirting or something like that. I do see that there. And probably, like I said, it's the energy that I mentioned where he goes out, bees wild, does what he did. So there is deception around that. I feel like his manhood was a bit tainted, but then he's asked to be a home husband, and then he wanted to be the emperor. So I do get that energy. But he really saw her as wifey, like empress. See the Justice card, yeah. He would try to get his back. He would try to, it's like he'd be at the home and then she's not there, and he would try to get his revenge. And I feel this whole book is him trying to get revenge. And yes, there's an element of deception from him as well, that he could have done something that's inappropriate or cheating. And inappropriate in terms of clubbing, wild nights, absolutely done that. In terms of cheating, possibly. But this is like, I'm going to gain my revenge, a different word, even. I'm going to get even with you, Justice. I'm going to get even with you through this book of, you know, parting the family, that it, you know, the divorce that we had to have, that he didn't want. And because of the money, Pentacles, also within that. So it goes with what I was thinking. So the last thing I wanted to read on very quickly is King Charles praying with the Pope. Now, if you go back to the themes, who remembers when I said there's going to be a theme of religion? People are going to hold back into the religion or divert from the religion. And the extreme is going to be people are going to become extremists in their religion. So this is Charles holding on to the faith side of stuff. It ties in absolutely with the energy that I described. That's why I say you should check out the videos. They're underrated. Okay, so a couple of things. Obviously, he is not very well, so he is probably taking this opportunity to get a blessing. I also think that he's getting this opportunity because the world's in chaos, and whenever it's his time, he is not worried about William, but as much as he can ease what's going to be on William. Like I say, I think not enough people are recognizing the pressure that William has in comparison to everyone recognizing everyone else, including Catherine. So I want to say, you know, there's something like also a blessing, a cleansing for his family and for William, who's going to take the monarch. So a cleansing of the monarch and a blessing, then a blessing because of all the chaos in the world is going through, and William's going to have to also be a big part of that. And then also a cleansing around his health and healing, but healing that line, some will say on ancestral line, the monarch, but trying to ease it for William and making sure there's a peaceful resonance after he leaves. And that could also be from Harry, Camilla, and all the dynamic that's going to be after he leaves. I feel that that is it. And like I said, holding on to the faith, and religion is where it's holding on to. Religion is where it's really coming through. I feel like he's also really tapping into spiritualness, and I think he's having some spiritual awakenings as well right now. It is such a dynamic energy. So we've got here, I think it's to do with his health and his healing and the whole toxic chaos that goes on and the loss after him. And that kind of energy that pulls in loss. Have you heard of like some families saying there's a curse, you know, so-and-so died by this, so-and-so was taken 6 months later, etc. A cleansing around that. There's something which he's delivering of a message by doing this prayer as well. So I don't know, are they going to be doing it publicly? There's something around that to ease the burden of what is coming next. Ease the burden on William, especially with Harry still being like, you know, playing victim and just the spoilt one. Here we got the King of Cups, really tapping into his emotions, his spiritual side, and his interconnectedness with the High Priestess and the King of Cups that we have. And here, just preparing for any loss of his health, bringing the blessing, any revitalization that can come, because at the moment there's 3 cups down in terms of his energy of his health, and there's 2 cups with him. So it's having that blessing, cloaking him in the blessing, and really trying to balance his health back into at least more of a neutral. I think I've covered everything. Kev, Andrew, I didn't read much on Andrew because I just wanted to confirm the quick ID, Gus Lamont, which was very, very quick. I wanted to go into that a bit more in a separate reading. And what else did we just do as well? Britney. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of mixed bag one. Sorry, members, we did a full reading on Brit and Kev. Maybe I went into a bit more detail, but the sound wasn't theirs, which was pointing out to me there was something wrong with the sound, so it had to be taken down. So I've just included everything in this reading. Take care of yourselves, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.